All right, before we jump in, just a quick reminder. This deep dive is for educational purposes only. It is absolutely not financial advice. You got to do your own research always. Okay, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to unpack a really fascinating and honestly, a kind of mind-bending paradox within the PLAZM protocol. We're going to talk about how a massive release of new tokens can actually make the available supply get smaller. I know, it sounds completely backward, but stick with me. The data tells an incredible story. So, yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? It's the puzzle that frames this whole explainer. How on earth, on a day where the floodgates are supposed to open and hundreds of thousands of tokens are set to hit the market, how does the amount you can actually buy or sell go down? And this isn't a hypothetical. Look at these numbers from day 85. Almost 500,000 PLAZM tokens were released into the ecosystem. Logically, the liquid supply should have skyrocketed, right? But nope, it actually dropped by 20,000 tokens. This isn't some glitch in the matrix, it's a powerful mechanic at work. So how did this happen? Well, it's not an accident. It's the direct result of three very specific, very powerful forces that are designed to work together to squeeze the available supply and to get even stronger during times of market stress. Let's break down each one. The first force, and maybe the most important because it's permanent, is what we call burn acceleration. See, when the price is getting pushed down, the protocol's defense system, the buyback and burn, doesn't just buy tokens to support the price. It takes those tokens and literally destroys them. And on day 85, this thing went into overdrive. More than 20,000 PLAZM tokens were permanently, and I mean permanently, wiped from existence. That's a huge 16% surge in the burn rate in one day. These tokens aren't just locked up, they are gone for good. Okay, force number two is something we can call conviction staking. You know, in most projects, fear at a dropping price leads to a bank run. Everyone rushes for the exits. But here, something else happens. For long-term believers, a dip isn't a reason to sell. It's a signal to double down and lock up their tokens. And this isn't just a theory. The numbers back it up. A net total of 30,000 fresh tokens were staked on day 85. Every single one of those was pulled out of the liquid, sellable supply and put into long-term lockup. It's a direct counterpunch to the release pressure. The third force is a little more subtle, but just as important, LP absorption. So instead of all these new tokens just flooding the market for sale, a good chunk of them were actually absorbed by liquidity providers. They were put into the trading pools. Now, this doesn't create sell pressure. It does the opposite. It adds depth to the market, making it stronger and more stable. On this particular day, we saw about 9,000 tokens get soaked up into those liquidity pools. So think about it. You've got tokens being destroyed, tokens being locked away, and tokens being used to strengthen the market. All three of these are working against that big release number. So we've got our three forces. Now let's actually do the math and see precisely how they all combined to give us that crazy negative 20,000 number. Okay, this chart makes it super clear. We start with that big plus number, over 473,000 new tokens. Then we just start subtracting. We take away the 20,300 that were burned forever, we take away the 30,000 that were staked, and we take away the 9,000 that went into the LPs. And what's the bottom line? The forces removing tokens from the market were stronger than the release. The math is undeniable, and it ends with a net decrease of 20,000 liquid tokens. Now, here's the really critical part to understand. This isn't some lucky accident that happened once. The entire system is designed to work better, to compress harder when it's under stress. The fear, the market pressure, they're not weaknesses. They're actually accelerators for these mechanics. Let me show you what I mean. Check this out. It's all about efficiency. When the price is lower, every single dollar that the defense system spends destroys more tokens. So today, at a lower price, $100 could burn about 1,845 tokens. But yesterday, at a slightly higher price, that same $100 only got rid of about 1,742. The system gets more aggressive as the price falls. It's more bang for the burn buck. And this just hammers home that psychological point we talked about. The exact same fear that makes a short-term trader panic sell is the signal that a long-term holder sees as an opportunity. For them, it's not a bank run, it's a flight to safety. It's a chance to lock in their position and show conviction in the protocol's future. So what's the actual tangible result of all this? Let's look at a before and after picture of the protocol's entire token distribution. It's a shift that happened in just 24 hours. And while it looks small, it is incredibly significant. So here's day 84. This is the before. As you can see, the liquid sellable supply was sitting right at 50% of the total, exactly half. The other half was either staked, in LPs, or already burnt. And here's the aftershot, day 85. Look closely. That blue liquid slice, it actually shrank. It's down to 49%, a new milestone. And where did it go? Look at the burned slice. It visibly grew from 3% to 4%. This is the supply compression thesis playing out right before our eyes, proven with real data. But what's really wild is that while all this drama and compression was happening on the surface, underneath it all, the protocol's core economic engine was just getting stronger. It kept chugging along. This chart shows it perfectly. Even while the price was dropping, the protocol quietly accumulated another 43 income-generating bonds. And remember, these bombs are what capture trading fees and generate the yield that fuels the whole buyback and burn mechanism in the first place. So while the market was panicking, the system was actually stockpiling ammo for its long-term defense. So where does all this go? What's the endgame? Well, the best way I've heard it described is the coiled spring thesis. All this pressure isn't breaking the system, it's winding it up tighter and tighter. So let's just walk through the logic. 1. The token releases create pressure. But it's temporary. We know when it ends. 2. That pressure is the exact thing that activates the compression forces, the burns and the staking. 3. These forces permanently, irreversibly reduce the liquid float. And 4, this is the punchline, a smaller, tighter float means that when buying pressure eventually does return, its impact on price will be magnified. And that really brings us to the key takeaway here. The squeeze is on. Every single day of this market pressure is another day of supply compression. So by day 118, when things normalize, what you're left with isn't a diluted, watered-down protocol. It's a concentrated one. The supply is smaller, ownership is in stronger hands, and the float is tighter than ever. That is not a bug. That is the design. Hey, thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. I hope it was helpful. And just one last time, remember, this is all for educational purposes. It's not a recommendation to do anything. The crypto world is a wild place, so please do your own homework.